Now that's working for you every day. That concept means that we're buying now when the share market's down 20%, whereas last year when it went up 20%, we were selling. And that's how you make money out of investing. It's an automatic process. I don't need anyone to work it out except the computer to work it out, and we just adjust the investments accordingly. So the international sector is the other one. The international sector until recently was going gangbusters. So we were selling out of that as well. So we were selling out of this in the last 9 months and buying back into strength share. So you can move around all these different sectors: property, government bonds, cash. If something's going gangbusters, we pull back. If it's going down, we buy back. It's not anything about the sector being bad or good. It's just about buying when it's cheap. So that's how you make money out of investing, is have it rebalancing all the time. Now, a lot of people think, oh, if we just went up in a nice straight line, that would be great. Because you wouldn't get any worries. You'd say, oh, well, this year's better, next year's better. In fact, that doesn't give you the best result. Because the best result is to buy when it goes down, sell when it goes up again, buy when it goes down, sell, and that's what we're doing. So this example here is just saying that this will roughly double your returns by buying in through all those sectors, those movements between those sectors. So this one would only give you a 43% gain if you went through that period. This one ends up with 83. So that's why we've set your investments up so that they can make money when you go through these dips in the market. So that's the sort of issue we're trying to do, is that when you set these things up, we're not just setting up for the good times, we're setting up for the bad times as well. But we can make money through the bad times for you, because the things will recover. So any questions on that at this stage? All convinced? Yeah, that's good.
Russell, the farming communities are in tension with the LNG. Did you watch the solution to that?
Oh, see, contention with the coal seam gas, you mean?
Yeah, coal seam gas.
Well, I think it's a transition thing. I saw one program the other day saying that when the cotton farmers went up to the north of New South Wales and started to produce cotton, which, you know, there's flood irrigation and so all the farmers didn't want that. All the farmers who were there said, no, that must be terrible, that's going to be the bad thing. And now there's cotton farms all over there with massive amounts of irrigation. Certainly there's a lot of resistance, and they're basically New South Wales is closed down all the coal seam gas. Yeah. They've said, you know, basically caved into political pressure that everyone wants to lock the gate and stop them producing coal seam gas. The crunch will come in probably 2 or 3 years' time when only Queensland is the only place in Australia which is producing coal seam gas. And that coal seam gas is going to Gladstone, and there won't be any left for New South Wales and Victoria. Because the Victorian gas is running out. The South Australian gas that we get in New South is running out. So what are you replacing with? You can't just live on air. We won't have enough coal seam gas in Queensland to supply New South Wales and Victoria. So you eventually end up with a huge hike in prices, and that's when everyone says, oh, we should get more gas. Where's the gas going to come from? Well, there's no more gas in natural gas. It's all in coal seam gas. So unless you pipe it, well, it's not economic to pipe it from the Northwest Shelf. But that's where the other, you know, that's the only gas deposit we've got left is Northwest Shelf, and that's all going off overseas anyway. So I know there's a pipeline to Perth, but it's not going to be economic to bring a whole pipeline all the way from Perth to the eastern states. But yes, it will be eventually. They'll eventually change their minds. It's just a matter of when the price goes through the roof. Yeah. Sorry, Bob. Yeah.
Oh, that sector rebalancing, for example, the Australian shares are down, they're buying. Are they actually buying parts of that market which you're down to, like financial?
No, it just buys a whole index.
They'll buy more resources.
Yeah, that buys a whole index.
Okay.
So you don't.
It's based on index weighting.
Yeah, it's just index. So you're buying your proportion of BHP, National Bank, all these coals, all the way through the top 300 companies. So you're not particularly picking out BHP to buy because we can't sort of say when it was going to get the bottom. I thought it was the bottom around $24, and then it would drop to 15. So you know, who's going to guess? But the whole thing is they buy the whole index here. Sorry, Jan. Yeah.
Well, I was probably just going to make a comment after this fellow was saying. I mean, if you had a property, I can understand people feeling that their farms might be destroyed and the artesian basin and all that. I think I'd fight against it.
Yeah, but you've got to remember that coal seam gas has been coming out of this land for hundreds of years. You could go to any of those places and light a match and throw it into those ponds, and it'll actually it catch fire. The gas is coming out anyway. Why not use it? That's one of my arguments. it's like saying, you know, if the resource is there, it's escaping anyway because it comes through the soils. The other thing about the Artesian basin is that they don't actually go through there's a permeable layer that you can't get through. It's not going through the permeable layer into the Artesian gas, it's above that. So there's a lot of misconceptions. I've got one of my clients, their daughter works in that area in AGL, trying to convince people that it's safe, because it is a new industry. It's started 10 years ago. It's getting people to believe it's safe and understand it, but they don't know. You know, not everyone's a geologist. Obviously, she's a geologist. She's done that. She's done studies. In the early years, they learnt a lot about how to do it safely, and that's where they're up to. The Americans are doing it safely. They've been doing it for 15 years. It's more of a problem, I think, a PR problem that people think, oh, well, it's got to explode or something like this. I think it's a lot of misinformation from what I can understand, but I might be wrong. Yeah.
There's objections to the wind farms too. A lot of farmers are getting very nice rental income from having turbines on their properties.
Yeah, that's right. There's a correlation between the people who are getting sick from wind farms and the ones who and the ones who are not getting sick. The ones who are not getting sick are getting paid, and the ones who are not getting paid are getting sick. So I don't know. Yeah, so there's some funny sides going on there. So
Just a silly comment. It's interesting when you say, you know, about talking about something that's going to be so good in 20 or 30 years. And I look back.
I agree with that.
That's something that's going to be good in the next 5 or 10 years.
Well, you've got to look to the future, that's right. Anyway.
Sorry.
But at the end of the day, it's still good now. I mean, it's just that we will continue to be good for the next 20, 30 years. That's probably the way to look at it. So I thought I'd look at the topic of the loyalty programs that are Woolworths and Coles. And as you probably know, most people spend a couple $100 probably a week in either Coles or Woolworths. And so it's probably worth looking at the economics of their new loyalty programs, which were both brought out on the 1st of January this year. So to go back a little bit, I did a seminar a few years ago on credit cards to say what's the best thing to do with credit cards, because you get, as you know, flybys with the credit cards, or you'll get points. We looked at analysed what the benefit was of spending $12,000, $24,000, $36,000 over a period of time, and what you could get out of it either in flights, or in vouchers, or in products. And basically the analysis there came up that if you're going to use it for flybys, try and use a long flight. So if you want to go and use 12,000 points, which is roughly 12 months of spending, you're only going to get one way to Sydney. But if you did 2 years of spending, you can go Canberra and Melbourne one way. If you did 3 years of spending, you can go to Canberra and return, and Cairns and return. So you were getting a better return on longer flights, basically, but you'd obviously got to have more points, but the payout ratio is better. The other thing is that you're getting better return in those longer flights compared to buying, say, a voucher, because this Perth flight is $1,000 and you're only getting a voucher of $300, $350, or getting camera worth $300. So the longer flights are actually the better one to go for if you're going to convert to points. So that was just going back on history, but the other thing to remember is that if you spend more money on your card, that is your annual fee, you get more points. So obviously you spend more, you get more. And that then comes back to the question is it better to have a cheap card or an expensive card? Really comes back, if you don't spend much on your card, don't get an expensive card because you won't get rewarded in points. If you spend a lot on your card, if you do every purchase on your card, spend it on the most expensive card because you get a lot more points from it. So that was just basically the analysis that we did a couple of years ago. So that's an example of a $290 expense with the Qantas Platinum. You're getting up to $2, 1.5 points for every dollar spent on the Amex, and $2 points for every $3. So basically just saying that you're better off to spend a lot more if you're spending a lot of things on your credit cards. So that just gives you a bit of background. But now we're going into a different world, because what's happening is the points, those flybys have disappeared from Woolworths. You're not getting any. Well, they're talking about doing it, but they've put it on hold at this stage. And Coles has basically rewards inside movies and surfing. Sorry, I'll come back to that. But we'll talk about Woolworths first. So they've changed their reward card, and now they're calling it Woolworths Rewards. And the basic story there is it's going to be, the rewards are now going to be based on getting a discount in what you buy. So you're not going to get points anymore. You're going to get a refund of up to $10 on your $10 per time on your shopping each time you go shopping. So the main thing is you've got to register. You've got to get yourself a card and register online, or either by phoning up. You must be over 16 years old, and you can't get the discounts on tobacco. You can't get it on discounts on tobacco, gift cards, cash outs, or home delivery, or internet cafes. So it's a bit restricted. Basically, it's on products. You get your redemption at the time you're at the till. So basically, when you come and get your printout of your docket, you'll see the discount printed on there. But you'll only get a refund of $10 per time. So you might only get $3 one time, another $5 the next time, and then you might go over the $10, and then you'll get the $10 maybe on the third transaction or fourth transaction or fifth transaction, depending on what you buy. So the discount's going to be only on orange label items. So you've got to find those if you want to get the discount. Everything else doesn't have a discount. So you can you'll get the discount, but only if you shop very selectively. The reward dollars only last 18 months, but they'll just sit in your system. It's a bit like when you buy, when you have the rounding of the 5 cents rounding, it accumulates in the system until you actually get to the $10. Can't be shared with other card holders, except for the fuel discounts. You can actually put up to 5 people on that, but you can't get a discount. You can't share the discounts with other people on the same card. You can't be credited or used as flyby cards are basically just a card for the discount. You can't use them with a credit card or a charge card. You can't transfer them, and they remind. This is Coles. Sorry, this is Coles charge cards. The points can't be withdrawn if a transaction is refunded or cancelled, and you cannot transfer or sell or give the points away. So Coles has still got the flybys, but they're not going to be as generous as they used to be. They don't expire. If you have not earned or redeemed your points in 12 months, you can. Unless you haven't used them for 12 months. There's no fees on both the Woolworths or the Coles cards. The only fee is if you lose a card with the Coles card. So the benefits, the main benefits is the discounts with Woolworths. So they'll basically email you with any discounts they've got special discounts on. You can get their newsletter through the email, and they give you. There's some prizes, obviously, every year. Every week, I think it is, or every month, they run a number of these cards to get a prize. So it just tries to keep you in the system. You have to have the discount card and register when you go through the register to get the discount. So you can't just assume that you're a member and get the discount. So you get $1 for every Woolworths discount in reduction in your purchase price, and you've got to get that orange docket. That's the thing you've got to look for, and I'll show you that in a second. And as I said, you can't. Once you get $10, you can use it. It's equivalent to 870 frequent flyer points. Now, there's a reference there that's saying you will. There's a frequent flyer system coming at Woolworths. Haven't really heard yet when it's going to be available, but it's still up in the air whether they'll go to. Whether you'll be able to convert to Qantas points. A lot of people were unhappy that they couldn't get their Qantas points and only getting the cash back. So Woolworths is considering this as an option for your discount. But the key thing to look for is this one, the orange one, not the yellow one, not the red one, because they don't give any discounts. If it's a red one, that's just a normal price for a home brand. The yellow one is a discount. You'll see that on the price, but you won't get anything extra. It's this one where you get your 90 cents off your docket. So you've got to keep accumulating those until you get $10 and that'll come off your price. So just a bit of obviously keeping an eye on what you're buying, if you can. A bit on the fuel, you can get up to 8 cents off your fuel. You can share these apparently with other members on the card, but you've got to spend more than $30 at the outlet to get the discount. The other thing too is if you want to get 8 cents, you've got to do two things. You've got to spend $30 and buy $5 in store. So you've got to double up buying at Mars bars or something. A few more outlets. The outlets, of course, we'll get to the outlets. The outlets for Woolworths, so the Big W, Caltex, but you've got to remember it's the Caltex shop. Some shops are not all Caltexes are Woolworths, it's only the Woolworths Caltex. BWS and the Woolworths supermarkets. Flybuys with Coles, $1 equal 1 point. If you spend $10,000, you're getting 10,000 points. You can give them as a donation. I don't know how to do that, but obviously you can. You can get a $50 gift card that you can use in all these different locations. Get it about Dick Smith. Smith. Who's Smith Johnson? Must be one of their outlets in other states. But you get your Coles, Kmart, Target, so forth. You can give gifts like toys, and this is sort of merchandise. You can use it for the points, or you can get movies, 2 adults and 2 children. But you're going to have to get 10,000 points to get that. So they get a bit more range of options there with Coles. You can get a wine multi-pack, the whole range of merchandise you get. And there's a lot more outlets. Coles have got the Kmart, your Target, your Telstra. Obviously not owned by Coles, but they've got an arrangement with them. Webjet, Etihad, Liquorland is from Coles, Kmart's Coles. So you've got a few more outlets to accumulate your points there. And which one's best for you? Well, obviously it depends on what you want. If you want to cash instantly off your dockets, it's best to go to Woolworths. But if you want things like movies or flights or gifts, it's best to go to Coles. We can't really compare who gives you the best deal because it's so dependent on in the Woolworths case, it's so dependent on what you're buying. If you're not buying those orange dockets, you won't really be able to get the benefit. So, and it depends on what Woolworths is going to put on special in those orange dockets. So, very hard to compare who's going to get the best. It's probably just best to go and look at who's giving the cheapest prices and then go from there. Woolworths is cutting their profit margin from 6% back to 4% because they have lost a lot of market share to Coles. But it really depends on what you buy. Obviously, everyone's got a different profile of what you buy. So you might find that your buying is good at Coles, whereas someone else's buying is a different profile, might be better at Woolworths. So, you'd have to really sit down and analyse what you're buying and then compare it one shop to the next shop between Woolworths and Coles. So those people who probably benefit from Woolworths are people who shop often and can get those discounts. You're getting cash rather than in merchandise, whereas and the disadvantage is you're not being able to get any. You can only spend it. You only get cash back basically. There's no other benefits. It builds up. It does have a system where it builds up. If you get $3 discount one day and then the next day you get another $4, it builds up until you get your $10. You get your petrol discounts, and in the petrol you can use up to 5 minutes. So the other one is the disadvantage is that the purchase is you've got to reach your $10 before you get your benefit. So you might take 10 trips to get your $10 back. Coles, best suited for people who seek rewards in holidays, movies, gift cards, and petrol discounts. Disadvantage is that it takes a long time to build up your points, basically. So it's basically not as good as it used to be. You can use the petrol one if you've got 5 people on a car, or 5 people can use the petrol one, but they can't use it in the groceries. Woolworths doesn't have as many outlets basically to buy things from. Coles has a lot more outlets to buy things from. Coles has more things you can buy, that is your merchandise. But again, you've got to spend a lot of money in Coles to get your points. So basically, if you prefer Coles, it's more gifts and family presents. If you want Woolworths, it's really more the cash back. So probably won't give you an ultimate answer, but it'll give you sort of things to think about if you're going to get their loyalty programs. It's probably not going to sway the budget too much, but if you're trying to get something, a benefit back, it's worth putting it in. I noticed over the last 4 or 5 weeks, we haven't. I think I've only got one, maybe two $10 refunds at Woolworths because we shop at Woolworths. So it's not going to amount to much over a year for us, but we don't go out of our way to buy orange dockets either. So it's really depending on how much you can find those orange dockets. Yeah. Well,
they email you regularly saying in this particular week if you spend more than $200, $5 added. They're running once a month, so if you spend
oh, is that Woolworths, is it? Yeah.
Spend $200 a week for 3 weeks, it'll give you $140.
Yeah, I must have put that on the
You've got to go in and you've got to activate the email link and everything.
Okay, yeah, I
it's
might
all
not have
a lot
done
of trouble.
Yeah.
It's not automatic.
Yeah. No, I might not have activated, so just. But so have you found you got benefit out of that, like the things you would have bought would have been much discounted?
We don't buy things because we're not dominant, we supply the food we want, but
yeah.
we've saved hundreds of dollars through
through the emails that you've got. Yeah, okay, so probably that's probably the thing to do to get the best benefit from. So what you're saying is you've found a big discount on the prices of things you were looking for.
Well, sometimes we'll have $9 in there, and then we might go several weeks without getting to $10 because nothing we want has an orange sticker on it.
Oh, yeah.
And we're not buying stuff with orange stickers on we don't want.
Yeah.
But there's a lot more lures to accommodate these emails. It's going to come out of them 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, okay.
And they'll give you $35 or $40 off if you spend more than $200, which isn't
Yeah, okay, so you've really got
to buy $100 worth of toilet paper.
Yeah, just to get to discount. Yeah, well, that's probably the better way of activating. I hadn't really looked at that side of things. Yeah. So, well, thanks for coming. And any other questions, you can always come up afterwards. But gives you a few ideas anyway when you're doing your shopping. Yeah. That's a good point. Oh, excellent. Oh, there you go. Big night out. Oh, yes. Okay.